it really, it had to happen. We understand that. But it was difficult, very difficult, and it felt like a near-death experience for Metallica. And I think we have like extra life now because of that. I feel that all the things I've understood about the near-death experience, when you finally realize what things you do have.
I think the truth of the matter is that this has been, 25 of the greatest, most memorable years of my life, and I wouldn't change a thing. To anybody who's watching this, I don't hate Lars, I don't hate James, I don't hate anybody from the past. Hate destroys the hater. I don't hate people who do drugs. I'm in such a place of peace right now that it's like, man, I'm ready to go. Now on stage, I turn into a motherfucker. After, it takes me time to kind of come down. So if you see me tonight, you're probably gonna need to give me about a half hour, because I'm not gonna be the same person you're talking to right now. It's kind of like turning into a vampire or turning into a werewolf or something.
I saw an interview
that, you know what
with Johnny
I mean?
about his actual near-death experience, where he saw the light in the tunnel and everything, and the way he described it was powerful. And when he came back, he had this new love of life and an intensity around it, and nothing else got in the way of that. Things were not important except those things. And I somewhat connected with that because of Metallica almost disappearing or disintegrating. So death in a new light. Death is not a new subject for us. But the way we're writing about it now, or the way I'm perceiving it, is
it just
the positives.
I hated the piano. Besides, it's hard to take a piano to the beach, you know what I mean? So I discovered guitar shortly after that, and I fell in love with it.
You married her?
The guitar?
No,
The piano teacher? No.
married the guitar.
I did marry the guitar. Ultimately, I did, because my marriage just ended and I stayed with the guitar. It came down to that. My wife said Megadeth or me, and I said...
Growing up, my religion, not a lot of talk about after someone died. There was no funeral, there was no anything. It was just, they were gone. No grieving. There was not a lot of talk about death. Even when, one of our 3 cats was all of a sudden not there anymore. Dad, what happened? Oh, she ran away, Yeah, ran away into the backyard under some dirt. But not a lot of talk about it. So the fear of death, or the not wanting to talk about it, even when you're in a room where, like, my mom was passing away in front of us. There was no talk about it. The big white elephant in the room. No one wants to speak about it, at least in my upbringing or in America.
What social class you were from?
Okay, I can tell you, my mom was a housekeeper. We were very poor. We used state medical aid and food stamps, which means they give you coupons to get food. We were absolutely broke. And I grew up like that, getting secondhand clothes. And you'd go to school and your pants are like this short, and that's like when you're standing up straight.
Wanting to have the adrenaline hit all the time.
Cool.
It became addicting, and obviously some of the antics on the road. I certainly could have died many times, and I think everyone can share that somewhat as a universal feeling. Oh, that time when the red light was red or something, but there's always something that That was close.
Things.
And,
I was going with a brother-in-law or somebody else's dad all the time. People would look and say, "That's not your dad. You don't have a dad." What social class was I in? The absolute lowest social class you could possibly be in, especially inside of here. My heart was completely broken as a kid, and then I grew up as what's called a latchkey kid because my mom had to work, so I would come home from school as just a little kid with a key around my neck and turn the lock and go inside my house and wait for my mom to come home. That's how I grew up. And I discovered the guitar, and it became my best friend, and I realized...
How did you get your first guitar?
A tough guy, you're going hunting, you're doing the driving with a chopper, and perhaps do you have the feeling that many years you lived up to some kind of rock and roll cliche, or is this?
Absolutely. I think no secret that the James Hetfield on stage is what I would like to be, but I'm not. I'm not that all the time. I think it's less of a conscious effort to portray an image.
You can abuse them or you can become addicted to them, right? I think people that use drugs, that's their choice. I think if you're abusing drugs, you make people unsafe around you. If you're addicted, you need to get help. You know, I was addicted. I was an alcoholic and I was a junkie, you know, but I wasn't one of these kind of guys. It was like snorting and smoking it, you know, and I'm not a junkie anymore. And as far as being an alcoholic, I was drinking cognac all the time and drink a little bit of red wine now, you know. As far as drugs are concerned,
we're on a different plane. And when there's an audience out there, like at Rock am Ring or wherever, it pushes you higher. You're pushing each other to new.
I didn't end up selling everything I
it's
owned
like you're
to get
in
pot,
the Olympics. You
didn't stay
go
up until the middle of the
past
night
where you
talking to
just
people
were,
about pot,
you know.
So I think it's a little different. I know that over here that
But also that-
hashish is
that-
more popular than marijuana is. But
I think
marijuana
that
is something that
trying
use
to
in
take
America as
that
a medical,
image off stage, and I
drug,
like bikes.
And the Native Americans
I like
used it a lot
cars.
too.
I like driving
I think there's
fast.
a difference between somebody who sits down in the morning and does 10 bong tokes and it's like,
But yeah,
"Yeah,
there's
ready for my
always a
weed,"
soft
versus
side
somebody
to
who knows
everyone.
how to use it medicinally, you know.
Pretending that there isn't.